Hi Cherie, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Not too bad. Can you hear me okay?
I certainly can.
Oh, great. Because I'm just pulled over in a car at the moment. I was trying to get somewhere to do the interview and I didn't quite make it. You're coming to Australia and New Zealand finally this May. Lita's been here, Joan's been here a few times, and now we're finally getting the voice of the Runaways. What's it like to be coming over to see us?
Well, I've wanted to come to Australia and play for you for 4 years. So to me, it's just a dream come true. I've never been, and I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
That's great. We were hoping to see you earlier the year and the Monster of Rock cruise in Miami, but you ended up cancelling that. Would have been great to see you before you came over. Was that just a scheduling thing?
Well, it was. I got a job, a carving job that was pretty amazing. So I had to back out because this was just a once-in-a-lifetime type of thing. So, but I heard Lita, she was supposed to be on it as well, and she missed the boat.
She did. She did. She forgot.
I guess they brought her in by helicopter a couple days later or something.
That's right.
So I knew at least you were going to have Lita, so made me feel a little bit better about it.
Forgot her passport. Last year's album Reverie was great, and obviously featured a couple of old Runaway numbers on there. But the rest of the album sounded really, really good as well. Are you going to be playing a lot of that for us?
Well, I'm going to be doing a lot of Runaways songs. I'm going to do one or two from Reverie. And also I've got an album coming out on Blackheart finally that Matt produced back in 2010. So that's coming out in September. But I also have a live album coming out as well, which I'll have in Australia, which is really neat, from my UK tour. And I've got Susie Quattro on that. It was just really a fantastic, fun tour for me. So a lot of things coming around the bend.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that unreleased album. I mean, that's been in the can for a few years now, and it sounded great, some of the guests that you actually had on there. Why did it take so long? Is it a label thing, or what was that?
You know what? I think that is a mystery that I'll never be able to figure out. Because it's a really cool album, and I don't really know. I don't know, but it is coming out now. So instead of going back and thinking about why, because trust me, I was asking myself that for 2 years, wondering why it wasn't out. But that's water under the bridge now. But I'm looking forward to it finally seeing the light of day.
No, that'll be great, because you've got people on there like Slash, Duff, Billy Corgan, and various other things. I've been reading about that for a while, and I thought, wow, that...
and the Veronicas. I think the Veronicas are from Down Under. Great girls. And then Brody Dale as well, and even Juliette Lewis. It was really a fun record to make.
Yeah, that sounds
really, really cool.
It sounds great. There's been a lot over recent years, I guess, in the 2010s around the Runaways, starting off, I guess, with the film. Was that really your sort of inspiration to get back into recording music seriously?
Well, I think what made me decide to get back into music was Joan asking me to open for her at the Pacific Amphitheater in Orange County out here in Los Angeles. And the show was so great that immediately I was offered a record deal that night. So it just kind of was like, okay, sure. I mean, the one thing that I've always had an easy time with was being on stage, probably easier than just about anything else. So it was really neat to go on tour and do this again. I feel very, very blessed.
That's where they have the Orange County Fair, is it? The amphitheater down there?
That's right, yes, yes.
Cool, yeah, no, I've been down there. It's a nice sort of open air venue. Of course, for many years you were acting as well, and one of my great memories of my youth was seeing you in the film Foxes. which I guess sort of kicked it all off for you as far as acting was concerned. And it had that great soundtrack with Angel on and things like that.
Yeah, I never even thought about acting, really. And I was doing a show down in Orange County again, and an agent from the William Morris agency happened to be there and walked up to me and asked if I'd be interested in acting. And I said, well, I consider myself a performer, sure. And Boxes was the second movie that I went out on. And the first movie, I think, was Rock and Roll High School, which I also got that part as well. So I got to choose which film to do, and I wanted to work with Jodie Foster. So it was a great experience to work with such a terrific actor as Jodie.
Yeah.
It was an absolute dream. Yeah, it was a fun. It was the kickoff movie for Adrian Lyne, of course, who went off to do,
of course, yeah.
Fatal Attraction and Jacob's Ladder, and that was his first film. So it was a learning experience, I'll tell you.
Yeah, and your memoir is also one of my favourite rock and roll books. I think it's such a powerful story, and I remember buying it when you updated it a few years ago and put in a few more experiences in there. Was it a very cathartic experience actually writing that at the time?
Well, it was, and when I wrote the first book for Price, Stern and Sloan, that was their very first young adult book. And I'd written all these stories before, but considering it was a young adult book, Price, Stern and Sloan didn't want some of those stories in there. It was just too much for them to wrap their heads around, I guess. So for me to have the opportunity to write an adult book was, to me, astounding. Who gets that opportunity? So, and it was great. I mean, I've been talking about what had happened in the Runaways and in my life for forever. So it wasn't really like I had to sit down and come to terms with all of it. I had come to terms with it ever since it happened by talking about it. But it was very helpful to really get it behind me.
Yeah, you talk about a lot of the unsavory things that happened in the Runaways there, but what was your most enjoyable experience with the band?
Oh my goodness. Well, we had a lot of great experiences, and again, just even like with the Runaways movie, how do you put 2 years of craziness into 90 minutes? How do you really put all the experiences into a book? Even we had a real camaraderie and a sisterhood, which I think was the only thing that kept us going. Because when we were out on tour, we were on our own. Yeah. We didn't have anybody to look out for us, so we had to take care of each other. So, we were out on tour for a long time. Our very first U.S. tour was months.
Yeah.
So, it was we grew up very fast. Let's just say that.
Yeah. And what's your favourite song to perform? Is there a Runaway song that when you get on stage you think, well, this is the one that has a particular special meaning for me, or this is the song that I'll never get tired of?
I never get tired of any of the Runaways songs. But of course, Cherry Bomb is kind of my song. I feel that it's something that I was the first to sing it, and I kind of feel really close to that song. But yet, all the Runaway songs that I perform, I love them all, and I never get tired of them. And there's just something about the simplicity of these songs that I think allows just about any kid to play them and sing them. You don't have to be Celine Dion to pull it off. And that's what I think I really loved about the Runaways music, is that just about anybody could do it. And
I think that's the thing that. Yeah, I think that's the thing that I love about it. It's the sort of thing that inspires people to go out there and actually do something. It's all about the sort of desire to sort of get out there and perform. We lost one of your great heroes, David Bowie, earlier this year, and I know he was a huge influence on you. Can you describe what it was like hearing him for the first time?
Well, I had been listening to his records like a fiend for a good solid year before I saw him perform live. And when I saw him performing at the Universal Amphitheater, it was literally like the sky opened and my life changed. And there was just no performer like him, and he was just had a presence that you could feel all the way to the back of the stadium. He was unbelievable. It was really a shock. It was truly a shock that he passed.
Yeah, I mean one of the all-time greats.
I still don't believe that. Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around it. I still have the Rolling Stone magazine here in my house sitting on my coffee table, and every time I pass by it and I see his face, a part of me just refuses to believe that he's gone. You know, he was such a huge part of my life.
Oh, fantastic performer, and I was lucky enough to see him once myself. It doesn't get more rock and roll than what you're doing at the moment. You talked about it earlier, the wood carving. How did you get into that, and what does it give you? I mean, it seems to be an incredibly creative thing, and I've seen some of your work online. It looks like great fun, but pretty dangerous, surely.
Yes, well, my family, it's funny because I was doing two-dimensional carving, like tabletops, wall hangings, things like that, not with a chainsaw, with a Dremel tool, before I happened to see a couple of guys chainsaw carving at the side of the road. And even though I didn't stop, I just kind of did one of those rubbernecking things, you know, and I could not get it out of my head. Every day I woke up, every night I went to bed, that voice kept saying, you have to go back. And so I did a couple weeks later and walked into their gallery and was just shocked with the beauty of these carvings. You know, you kind of always think of a lumberjack type, you know, real square cuts and all that. And these mermaids were so beautiful and detailed. And that voice said, you can do this. Yeah. Of course, I had to fight my family. They were telling me I wasn't going to do it, which of course I said, well, I am going to do it. And I immediately started winning ribbons, and I started competing 5 years after I, you know, originally picked up the saw and was, you know, placing in major competitions. So I've been doing it for 15 years now, and it's been really good to me. I've been very, very lucky.
Oh wow, that's incredible. I'm just conscious of the time, so I've just got a couple of quick questions for you, if that's okay, to close with.
Yeah, they're going to be beeping through here in a second, so we'll talk until they beep through.
Okay, I'll go with the easy one then. What is the meaning of life?
The meaning of life? Well, for me, it's been learning that other people's opinions don't matter. Don't matter at all when you're trying to find your way in life. You have to trust your instincts. Trust your instincts and never ask people for their advice, because they have their path and you have yours. And someone on their path can't give you advice for your path. So just trust your instincts, know that you can do it no matter what, and have a great life.
That's a great answer. I love that one. And the final question then is, if you could have been a fly on the wall in the studio for the creation of any great album, just to see how all the magic happened, what's that album for you? What's got the most meaning?
That would have been David Bowie's Diamond Dogs.
Yeah, what a great album. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Well, it's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much for taking... Thank you so much for taking...
They're beeping my...
No worries. Thank you so much for taking time to speak to us today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we can't wait to see you in May. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I can't wait to meet you, and have a great day.
You too. Take care.